So there are a number of things we need to be aware of when we're excavating a floor. And obviously one of those is the depth of the foundation. What you don't want to be doing is undermining the foundations. So here we've got a certain amount of foundation, not a huge amount, but this is sort of what we were faced with. If you have a situation where the foundations are shallow, then generally you'd come in to the building at about 200 mil and then ramp down at 45. So you keep a bit of beef, a bit of meat up against the foundation so that you keep some support there. So the way you decide on the depth of the foundation is you do trial pits around the building at strategic points so you can identify what the reality is with foundations before you start. And then you can identify any risk might be associated with shallow foundations. So once you've done your excavation or in the process of the excavation, it's really important to assess the condition of what you're finding. There have been situations where we've excavated floors and there have actually been springs coming up. And if you have water coming up, you need to make sure you manage that water. So hence the land drains taking it out. This has been exposed for some time, and there are a few areas where there's a bit of water that pops up in really severe weather. So these land drains, which we've cut into here, are taking any water that does accumulate within the floor and taking it to a land drain outside. So what's really important here is rather than trying to cover up water, cover up a problem, is what we're doing is we're managing it. So we'll have a look outside later on and look at the outside of the building, because obviously it's always important to look at what's going on outside before you do anything inside. So we can then make sure that this area is drained. So if we get a flood, if there's a leak in a pipe or an excessive amount of water coming in, that water can come in, it will go through the floor and it will drain away. Rather than having a membrane, which in theory stops water coming up, those membranes can also trap water within the building once it's there. It's all about managing risk. We don't cover it up, we don't try and stop it. With water, you give it somewhere to go, you give it a direction, and that way you protect yourself from the possibility of future build-up of moisture. Give it an exit route.